everyone, my name is Marie, welcome to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So this is part 2 of building starter apartments in the world of Ciudad Enamorada, which is why we're diving straight into interiors for this one. If you're wondering what the heck we're working on right now and why we skipped the exterior, I actually did the exterior for this in a separate video that I uploaded yesterday. So if you missed that one, I will try to remember to link it in the description down below or somewhere here on the screen. So yeah, part 1 was the exterior of this apartment building that has 6 apartments total and then a bunch of shared outdoor spaces. There is a shared pool, there is a shared basketball court, a community garden, and yeah, these apartments are supposed to be on the smaller side of things. So all these 6 apartments are, they have 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and then they're just like somewhat older looking, more affordable looking, and so not as nice and renovated in most areas actually. And so today for part 2, we're going over the interiors for these apartments, and we'll be covering 3 out of the 6 apartments in this video. So the other ones I actually decorated off camera because, you know, it was going to be a little bit too much, but the 3 that I'm sharing right now are the ones that have full storylines behind them. I decorated them, I furnished them, they're detailed, just like my regular speed builds, I guess, where I normally have storylines for the builds that I do. So I have storylines for these 3 apartments that I'm sharing in this video, and then obviously at the end of the video, when I give you a little tour of the apartment building in total, I will also be going over the other 3 apartments that I didn't include in this video. I didn't include those because they're very basic. Those 3 apartments have no storylines whatsoever. They're just supposed to be starter apartments, literally move-in ready for if you want to do some actual gameplay here. So for that reason, they're kind of boring because they're extremely basic and like very sad and sort of empty, but perfect starter apartments. There's basically no personality to them, which is great if you want to do your own gameplay and tell your own story in those apartments. So that's basically what I furnished those for. Those are a little boring and sad, so I didn't include those, but I'll show you them at the end of the video, of course. But yeah, with all that out of the way, this is the very first apartment. It's one of the ground floor apartments, and it's actually the one right next to the pool, as you can probably tell already. And this one is going to be for a single mother and 3 children. So that's a lot for a tiny 2-bedroom apartment like this. And the second bedroom is actually kind of small too. So yeah, it's definitely going to be very crammed to have 3 kids here. One of them is actually a baby. So I decorated this apartment for 1 adult, which is obviously going to be the single mom, then her twin kids. So they have a shared kids bedroom. And then there's also an infant for this storyline. And the infant is actually sharing a room with mom. So I created a little baby corner in mom's bedroom, in the main bedroom for this apartment, which I thought was going to be kind of realistic. There's literally no space to put the baby elsewhere other than in mom's bedroom, so that's what I decided to go for. And so yeah, this apartment is definitely not ideal. It's definitely not a long-term solution for this mom and her 3 children. But we were kind of trying to think of the storyline for the single mom. So we were kind of thinking that maybe she recently got divorced or broke up with her previous partner that she had either one or maybe all these kids with. I'm not exactly sure, but it was probably not a really like great situation, and she got divorced or they separated in any case, and she had to find a new place to live and fast. And this was probably the most affordable thing that she could find and the only place that she could like move into basically right away because it was empty and it was move-in ready for her to actually, you know, right away just kind of move all her stuff into. So this was the first, I guess, best thing that she could find after her breakup that she went through with her partner, and she had to take all her kids, her 3 kids, and move somewhere else for a fresh start. So that's what this storyline or what this apartment is for. So this is a single mother who is also working, and then she has 3 kids, or I guess 2 kids and a baby to take care of and to look after. And so naturally this apartment is going to be more on the messy side of things. So you could kind of just watch me go over the entire living area and the dining area, and I really tried to make this look very cluttered. I don't know what it is about storylines with single mothers and a bunch of kids, but it just sort of just like, it's so fun fun for me to decorate for. I don't know what it is, but it kind of just inspires me, and I think it's fun to do cluttered interiors for a bunch of kids and a mom that's too busy. She has other things to do. She can't always be picking up after everyone. So, you know, it's going to be a little bit messy in that sense. And also these apartments are definitely more on the affordable side of things. So I wanted to go for a look and feel where you can kind of tell that the maintenance on this building isn't that great, probably. For this apartment specifically, there's definitely like some stains, some questionable stains and things on the wall. Not everywhere to the point where it's like dangerous to live here, but there's definitely some stuff going on, like maybe a little bit of mold. There are some issues here and there with this apartment that make it more affordable, but also less comfortable of a place to live. So that's basically what I wanted this to look like. I mean, I'm kind of taking inspiration from my own situation. I basically live in an apartment that is, you know, it's livable, but it is definitely not great. And for that reason, it's also not very expensive, which is good. But yeah, it definitely comes with its own like discomforts to the point where there's like mold in the bathroom, and it's livable. You can deal with it. You can clean it every once in a while. It's fine. Is it great? No, it's not. It is definitely not great. So that's essentially what I kind of was going for I guess all these apartments, but this one specifically for the single mother. I wanted it to look like it's a tight squeeze. It's not the most ideal situation for her to live, but it is what it is. It's the only thing she could find on short notice that she could move into immediately, and that was maybe a little bit too small but doable. So yeah, she moved in here. She didn't really have a choice. And I think that even though for the mom, this is kind of a struggle, like this is definitely not where she wants to live for years on end, I think that the kids love it because there is, like I said, there's a lot of outdoor shared spaces. There's a pool next door. They literally live right next to the pool. And you can kind of see how for the mom, that's not ideal because it's probably always going to be very noisy. People can look into her apartment because she has windows on that side of the apartment as well that kind of look out over the pool. So it's a little bit of a privacy issue. I mean, you could shut the curtains, of course, if you had them, or like blinds. But you know, it's always going to be a little bit noisy. Her bedroom wall actually borders the pool as well, and the baby needs to sleep in there. So maybe it's kind of tough for the baby as well because it's so noisy all the time. And so for the mom, it's not ideal, but I can see how the kids would love to live here because like I said, they're literally right next to the pool. There is a really cute community garden outside where they maybe can do some gardening with the neighbors. There's like playground equipment around. There is a basketball court around where they can hang out with friends and play some basketball or do other games. There's like hopscotch and marbles. So I feel like for children, this is basically a dream come true because obviously children don't really care about the state of the house as long as they have a nice bedroom. You know, I feel like that's essentially all that they care about. And they do have a really cute bedroom. It's definitely a tight squeeze, as is everything else in this apartment, but they do have bunk beds. And I feel like maybe that was something that they never used to have before. Maybe they were in a larger space before they moved in here and they didn't have bunk beds. And now they need to have bunk beds, otherwise it won't fit. But for the kids, like from the kids' point of view, that's amazing. Like they're so excited about having bunk beds in their bedroom and sharing a bedroom for that matter. Maybe they didn't even used to have to do that before, but now they do. And for them, it feels like a big sleepover. So that's kind of the story I was trying to tell here. Like the mom, she's definitely struggling, but she tries to make the most of everything for her kids, and she just loves to see her kids happy. And this is, in that regard, a really good place for them to live right now because the kids don't have to, you know, go through all that struggle that's probably going on with the parents and the divorce or the separation or whatever, maybe fighting all the time. I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like maybe for the kids, this is a really nice distraction and they really have a good time living here. Then of course, there's also the baby here in mom's bedroom. They do have to share a room, so that is definitely a little bit of a tight squeeze again, but it is really cute. I do really like the furniture in here. I was definitely trying to go for some like mismatched furniture. She basically just picked stuff up from thrift stores, secondhand stores, everything that she could find that was affordable and usable and in an okay state, you know, like that's what she has in here. Maybe previous tenants left some stuff that she could use now. So in that regard, it's kind of like a mismatch of furniture and colors in here, but I really like that. And then for the kids' room, of course, as well, like I said, there's going to be bunk beds, there's going to be bright colors, and just a little bit of a mess in here because they don't have that much storage space either. I did give all these apartments like a storage closet. I thought that would be fun. I'm not exactly sure why I didn't go for a just built-in wardrobe, but I really liked the built-in storage closet from Lovestruck, so I decided to use that for all these apartments. I think except for one of them where it didn't make sense for the floor plan, because the floor plans for these apartments are essentially all the same, but there's slight differences for each of them because they're not all the exact same shape, because the outer apartments have bump outs, the middle apartment doesn't have that. So, you know, they're all a little bit different in that regard, but for the most part, like, they're roughly all the same. And this apartment also has a backyard, which is really nice for the kids. So on top of the shared spaces outside, they also have their own backyard. I think I placed a swing set in this backyard for them to play with. So that's really nice. They basically have all they could ever ask for, which I think is so cute. And then for the mom, we were thinking that she definitely has a job. Maybe she has a job on the side right now that is not her favorite or her dream job at all, but she wants to go back to school. So maybe she already started school, like she's doing university or like college from home, probably for the most part is what we were thinking, because that's the most realistic thing for her in her current situation. But even though she's going through a rough era in life right now, at the moment, she did decide that she really wants to make herself happy too. So on top of working to make money to get by, probably a job in, I don't know, maybe customer service or something that you could kind of do on the side that's more like flexible, you know, in that regard. Maybe she could do from home as well for a big portion of that. So she has a job on the side right now that she basically only has because she needs to make money to make ends meet, but then she is also taking or putting in effort and time to actually go to school and achieve something that she really wants to achieve for herself. And we were thinking that maybe she really wants to become a teacher, because I know she is already like having to deal with children in her day-to-day life because she has 3 of them, but she loves kids. She loves being around kids. She loves educating kids, stuff like that. So that's why we're thinking that it is her dream to actually become a teacher, but she was never able to go to school before. But now she is able to go to school, even though it's like part-time and probably from home for the most part. So it might take her a minute, but she did decide that she wants to do that for herself. So she's putting in all the extra effort, the extra hours to make that dream come true for herself. And yeah, so that's why they moved in here, because rent is probably a little bit more affordable in that regard as well. So yeah, all in all, as rough as the situation may be for the Sims living in this first apartment that we're decorating, I do feel like they're definitely making the most of it, and it's definitely really wholesome in a way. So yeah, that was the storyline for the very first apartment. Then we're moving on to the apartment that is literally next door to the single mom. So this is another ground floor apartment with a backyard. The layout for this one is roughly the same, like I said, but it's for the bedrooms and the kitchen, it's a little bit different because this bedroom or this apartment doesn't have any bump outs on the sides because it's a middle apartment. So yeah, this one's definitely very different. This is not a family with children. This is actually going to be for a bunch of roommates that are either still in college or maybe they have just graduated, but in any case, they are by no means ready to give up their lifestyle of partying, hanging out with friends, making the most of their college experience or university experience, inviting friends over all the time and hosting parties in their townhouse. Essentially, it's not a townhouse, it's an apartment, but that's kind of what it feels like. They're definitely trying to live the university life here in Ciudad Enamorada. I'm not exactly sure what university these kids would attend. Like, they would probably go to Brightchester because that's the only university that we have in the game. But I'm kind of imagining that the city of Ciudad Enamorada probably also has a university or a college, you know, but that's not something that exists in game, of course. But you could easily have students live here and just attend college and they'll just go to class, like they'll just disappear into a rabbit hole, but you can definitely still attend university and live here with roommates. I think that would be kind of fun, actually. So it doesn't qualify as university housing, of course, because it is just a regular apartment with a full-on kitchen and everything. The entire apartment building is a residential rental, so you can't use this as university housing. It also just wouldn't work because university housing doesn't actually allow there to be full-on kitchens, which this apartment does have that. So you cannot use it as such, but you can just rent, like live here as a tenant and be a student and go to university. So that would be kind of fun, actually. So yeah, that's very, very different. And this is definitely a party household. They are noisy all the time. I try to include as many items as I possibly could to kind of reflect that there's a lot of noise coming from this apartment all the time. So the poor mom in the other apartment is kind of stuck in between the pool outside on one side, and then on the other side she has these neighbors, which are 3 students. Like I said, 2 of them share a bedroom, and then there's one single bedroom, which is going to be the smaller one. So 3 roommates living in this apartment, living it up, inviting friends all the time. It's probably very noisy all the time. So they even have a karaoke machine in the living room. They have a gaming console. They have a full-on foosball table. I also included a invisible dance floor. That's the little dance floor item that came with the party stuff pack. I'm not exactly sure what the exact title for that kit is. It's not a stuff pack. It's a kit. Sorry, but yeah, I did use that invisible dance floor, like the tape outline on the floor, so you can actually have some dance parties in here. Yeah, they have a foosball table, a karaoke machine. I ended up placing, I think, a guitar in the hallway as well, so Sims can go and walk around and just like, you know, play the guitar all the time. And then they also have a ping pong table outside in the backyard, and they also have a keg in the backyard as well. So all the things that you would basically want for college kids parties, I guess. It's all in this apartment. And the apartment, if you can't tell already, sort of is a mess. Like I already explained, for most of these apartments, it's actually, they're just not the nicest maintenance-wise, and they definitely could use some cleaning up in general. But then this one is, you know, one step up from that, because these people also just don't really care that much about cleaning up. They don't really care that much about getting rid of their takeout pizza boxes. They're basically just scattered around the kitchen, all the takeout food and the pizza boxes, the milk cartons, the orange juice, whatever. It's all just kind of scattered around, and there's definitely just like a mess on the floor. There's stains on the wall. I don't know whatever goes on in this apartment. I also placed a lot of nectar bottles in the kitchen. I thought that would be so realistic, so I went ahead and did that. There's a random cereal box out on the coffee table amongst the board games and things that they used probably in here, like drinking games, stuff like that. They do have that really fun schedule board kind of thing up in the kitchen, because that was we were kind of thinking that that was their sad attempt of actually putting up a schedule for chores for all the roommates, but then they never actually looked at the schedule or, you know, took care of cleaning in that sense. So yeah, it didn't, that didn't really happen, but the schedule is still up. No one ever looks at it though. And then in the hallway here, there is a really small area that I basically just turned into an office. I did that for the single mom's apartment as well, but this one's more catered towards, I guess, college students. So at least that's what I try to make it look like. So we have that in there because the bedrooms are kind of small. So I didn't really have a lot of areas to place like desks for studying and stuff. I will say though, there's probably not a whole lot of studying going on in this house in general. It's a bunch of students that just all they live for is hanging out with their friends and throwing parties. And then maybe at some point they'll realize that they need to, if they want to graduate, they'll probably want to do, you know, put in a little bit of effort and do a little bit of studying. But at this point, that's just not really happening. Or like I said, maybe they did all that already and they're now done, but they're by no means done with the partying lifestyle. So they're still just kind of living it up here in this apartment. But I feel like the more realistic storyline is that they're just in college and they're kind of putting off graduating for as long as possible as well, I want to say, because they just don't want to give up this lifestyle of partying and throwing parties and like making a lot of noise. And I'm sure there's also a lot of complaints to the landlord from all the neighboring apartments about these people. I feel like they're not necessarily bad people, but they're just, they're just loud. They're just noisy with their parties all the time when their friends over. I feel like whenever they do have all those friends over, they also take over like the area by the pool. I put in some pizza boxes and stuff, or put out some pizza boxes on the picnic tables as well that they probably just didn't clean up after themselves. So I feel like when they do throw parties, it's kind of annoying for the neighbors because they kind of like take over the basketball court just hanging out there, or the pool just hanging out there, and it's just kind of intimidating for the kids that live here maybe as well. So that's sort of what I was thinking. There's basically just like complaints, but I don't think the landlord cares enough to actually do anything else other than just send them warnings from time to time, and then they'll just tone down the noise for a little bit, but then a couple weeks later there'll just be another party, and then that whole cycle just kind of starts up again. That's kind of what I was thinking. So it'd be so annoying to have these people as neighbors, but they're by no means like bad people or anything. They're just noisy. They're just loud and a little bit annoying in that sense. But yeah, here you can see I am decorating this shared bedroom that has more of a blue color scheme, I guess. I did have the space for a smaller desk for this apartment, so that's what I ended up, or for this bedroom, so that's what I ended up putting in here. So we have two, just areas to actually sit down and do homework, do studying. There are a computer as well as a laptop here in these apartments. I didn't mind the budget for these apartments, so the fully decorated ones aren't necessarily starter apartments in that regard, but more so in the regard that it's the beginning of a storyline for the household living there, if that makes any sense. But then the ones like I said, I didn't include in this speed build, but will show you when we do a tour of the place. Those are actual starter budget apartments, or apartments that are actually way below starter budget even. So they're move-in ready for you to actually start your own storyline. But yeah, these apartments that we are furnishing are more of like, I guess just like a beginning of a storyline, or furnished for Sims that for one reason or another need a cheaper, not forever home, low rent kind of situation, like some sort of apartment that would suit that. So that's essentially what these fully decorated ones are for. But yeah, then here we have this single bedroom, which I guess is a little bit nicer. I do like this bedroom. This person in this bedroom cares a little bit more about aesthetics and wants it to be a little bit more cozy, I guess. Also because of the warmer colors that just kind of came naturally for this bedroom, I think. But yeah, this bedroom is definitely a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and it's definitely messy and not very nice, but the colors are pretty and it definitely looks cozy with some pictures up on the wall, stuff like that, as opposed to the other bedroom. It's just like beds and then some necessities basically just in the room, and then that's it. So there's a little bit of a difference there as well. But then for their backyard, they actually have some more activities. Like I said, they have a ping pong table, they have a keg. They also actually have a music, like a stereo outside as well, undercover. I think I place it undercover enough to where when it rains, it doesn't break. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that should be fine. So yeah, and then they have a fire pit in their backyard. I forgot about that, but they have a fire pit in the backyard. How annoying would that be? That would be just, that would just be the worst, if you are the neighbor. I guess, yeah, that would just not be great. They also have a grill in here, so that's probably going to be really annoying. Just a lot of activities for Sims to hang out outside all the time and just make a lot of noise, produce a lot of scents, I guess, like smoke and things coming from the fire pit and the grill. So yeah, that's the situation for the other apartment downstairs, the middle one. And then we're moving on to an apartment upstairs. So this one's also on the corner. This one's right above the single mom's apartment, but on the second floor because it's above it. So I guess you figured. But yeah, this one's way different. This one is actually decorated for two grandparents taking care of their teenage granddaughter. So it's for two elderly Sims living here, grandma and grandpa, and their teenage granddaughter actually lives with them full time. So yeah, this one's definitely a lot more cozy, and I don't know what it is about grandparents' interiors, but I just love doing those in The Sims. It's so strange, but whenever I get to do like a grandparent's apartment or like a 90s, I guess, kind of style apartment, I just thrive. I just think it's so much fun. I do tend to use the same types of like furniture pieces as well for those apartments, but I guess that's okay. I was excited about using a couple of those pieces for this specific interior as well. I just think it turned out so cozy. Starting with the wallpaper, actually, that one's base game, and it's one of my all-time favorites when it comes to grandparents' interiors. I don't know why. Maybe it's a little bit too stereotypical. Maybe it doesn't make any sense at all, but I just think that patterned wallpaper is so fun, and I never ever use it other than these types of interiors. So I was happy to use it in here again. And these people also have a cat. I thought that would be really cute to include stuff for a cat in here. So there's a cat tree in the living room. There's another really big cat tree in the hallway, actually, sitting there, just taking up a lot of space as well. And then these people don't have a backyard naturally because they're on the second floor, so they have a really tiny balcony, which is where I ended up placing the litter box for the cat. And I just thought that that would be so cute for these people to have a cat. So yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, this interior is definitely just a lot more taken care of, especially compared to the previous apartment. This one's just so cozy. We have all like the brown tones going on. Some of them are a little bit mismatched, which I really like because, you know, some of these furniture pieces are probably very old. Some maybe are a little bit newer, so it's a little bit of a mismatch of stuff that they kind of bought over time, like over the years. So yeah, I was imagining that the grandparents have lived in this neighborhood and in this apartment for a very, very long time. And when they first moved in here, I kind of imagined that maybe this apartment building was one of the nicer ones actually, but then it was just kind of downhill from there, and it kind of hurts the grandparents as well to kind of see how the state of the building has just kind of gone down, and how the neighborhood itself maybe has gone downhill a little bit over time. I'm not exactly sure why or how, but maybe there were just some neighborhood changes here in Ciudad Enamorada that these elderly Sims living here, they have all experienced like everything, and you know, they've kind of watched it go downhill and it kind of hurts them, but they don't really want to leave here either because this is their home and they love it here, and you know, they just simply don't really want to leave just yet anyway. Maybe once their grandkid moves out to go to college or maybe live on their own, maybe that's when they'll leave, but I'm not exactly sure. I feel like they just love this neighborhood too much to leave it, even though it's not the way it used to be compared to, you know, years, like decades ago. But I do feel like this is definitely a very loving home. I'm not sure what the storyline is behind the granddaughter living with the grandparents, but I do feel like there's some history there, like some not super positive or bright history as to why the granddaughter moved in with the grandparents. I feel like she's always kind of lived here. I feel like she barely knows any better than that her grandparents raised her. But there's definitely a story there that maybe something happened to her parents, or in one way or another, I'm not exactly sure, but her parents, I imagine, are not in her life. So she doesn't know any better than that she was raised by her grandparents, and that is that. So she actually has a really good relationship with her grandparents. I feel like it's super wholesome. We even had a storyline behind the record player that's more modern looking in the living room. We were kind of thinking that maybe the grandparents found an old box of records in storage at some point, but they didn't have a record player anymore because that broke a very long time ago, and they couldn't really buy a new one because they weren't really on the market anymore, or they didn't try hard enough. But then the grandkid was like, you know what? Record players are actually all the rage these days, and you can buy them everywhere, and there's more modern versions of them these days. So she got a brand new record player for her grandparents to enjoy the old records that they found in storage. I thought like those sorts of little wholesome things would be so, so cute. So that's kind of what we tried to portray here in this specific apartment. And I think this is my favorite. I just love it so much. I think it's so wholesome and so cozy, especially compared to the other ones. The single moms one is very cozy as well, but there's something about this wholesome, like this warmth that kind of reflects in this apartment. I don't really know how to explain it, but I feel like it just feels like a warm hug. And I just really, really enjoyed decorating this specific apartment. So we were also thinking that Grandpa is actually into knitting. Grandpa loves to knit, and that is why we put a knitting corner for him in the hallway. I thought that was so cute. And then Grandma is into baking. So we also put a lot of Home Chef Hustle baking items and appliances in the kitchen as well. So yeah, grandma's into baking pies and cakes and cupcakes and cookies and all the things. So there's always freshly baked goodies in this apartment. And then grandpa loves to knit, and maybe grandpa even, like, maybe the granddaughter actually helped her grandpa set up an Etsy store of sorts, so he can actually sell all his knitted creations on Etsy. And maybe grandpa is teaching his granddaughter how to knit. I thought that would be so cute. And maybe grandma's teaching her how to bake. Maybe they like to bake together on Sundays, you know, like that sort of stuff. I thought that would be really nice. And then I also put a collection of little cat statues in the grandparents' bedroom. That was actually a suggestion of one of my friends in chat when I was decorating these over on Twitch. They were like, let's do a little collection of cat statues. Maybe grandma's into collecting those little statues. So I thought that was really cute. So I placed a bunch of them in different swatches on the dresser. So yeah, that's really wholesome. And then the teenager obviously has her own bedroom in here. And we were thinking that maybe she is into gaming and streaming. So she has a stream setup. I don't know what it is about the streamer setup from high school years, but recently I've really been enjoying using that again in teenagers' bedrooms. So I put that in here. I was thinking maybe she's just a cozy gamer and she likes to stream. So I figured that would be really cute for her. And then we were thinking that she is also very much into swimming. We were kind of thinking that maybe the high school has a swim team that she's on. It's not something that I ever really think about or decorate for, but someone in chat again suggested that, and I thought that was so cute. So I decided that she is on the swim team. She's into swimming and just sports in general. She just likes sports. She likes to play basketball, maybe outside as well. Maybe she teaches the kids that live here how to play basketball. That could actually be really wholesome. And then she uses the pool all the time whenever there's space for her to swim laps. She uses that as well. And we were thinking that maybe she babysits for the single mom downstairs. Ever since the single mom moved in, that was a nice opportunity for the teenager to get a job as a babysitter. So every once in a while when mom needs to study at the library or something, or maybe the mom actually needs to attend classes at school, like in person, that's when the teenager will babysit the kids downstairs. It's very convenient and close by because it's literally downstairs. So I feel like that would be really cute and a nice opportunity for her. But yeah, her bedroom is very cutesy and pastel, sort of. It has a bunch of different mismatched colors. I tried to not do a super sophisticated and put together interior or like style in her bedroom. I wanted it to reflect a teenager that is into a bunch of different colors, and that's also a little bit messy probably. And then of course they just have a bathroom as well. All these apartments essentially have the same bathroom. I thought that that would be realistic with the same plumbing, the same furniture items for the most part, but just different sorts of decorations. I figured that would be realistic for these rentals. And then they have a really tiny balcony out here where I placed a litter box, of course, and then just an area for them to hang out, a little bit of a lounge area outside as well on the really, really tiny balcony, but that's basically all we had space for there. But that's gonna be it for these 3 interiors. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you this apartment building and the remaining apartments in real time. So here we are back in the game, and here are the apartments. We obviously have already looked at the exterior for this building, so we're going to dive straight into the interiors. So bear with me while we go over 6 apartments. The very first one here on the ground floor is the one for the single mom. So when we take a look at it like this, you can kind of get a overview of the floor plan and how it's kind of like divided into separate areas by this hallway. The bedrooms are in the back and the main areas are in the front. So when you walk through the front door for this one, we just have a cute entryway space with some knickknacks for the entire family. And then there's a really fun dining room setup here with a couple of mismatched chairs. Maybe one of these wicker chairs broke and she quickly had to get another one. We also have a high chair here. There is a bit of a mess on the ground, a play mat for the little one. And then there's a very cluttered and sort of messy living room in here. There's basically just toys everywhere. There's napkins and stuff everywhere. I really wanted to try to reflect that. The kids have essentially taken over this house. They play everywhere. They do crafts everywhere. There's some laundry here on the couch, some storage boxes in the corner, a cute toy box for the kids to use in the living room. So yeah, it's definitely messy in that sense. And then in the back here is where we have the kitchen. The kitchen's actually really nice and they do have a nice window. It does look out over the pool, but I feel like the kids love that. Mom mom, maybe not so much. So the kitchen is a little bit of a mess as well. We just have a bunch of knickknacks everywhere. I did leave this counterpiece free of clutter, so the kitchen's actually functional and you have a place to cut and cook. There are some crafts on the fridge as well, and then some more storage in the corner here. In the hallway is where we have a study spot for mom, a little bit of a home office. She does her studying here, but I also feel like she works from home a lot, and that's when she uses the computer. And then for the rest, there's just extra storage in this hallway, which is definitely something she would need with all these kids. Her bedroom is over on this side. So again, a little bit of a mismatch with all the colors and some different wood tones and stuff, but obviously she shares her room with the infant. So there's this really cute area. She really tries everything to make the house look cute and make it feel like a home for her children. You can really see the effort she put in here with the little mural and the cute nightlight and the cute changing station over here as well. Then her own area is just like a little bit, you know, bare. She just has this old dresser and not super comfortable bed, but she is fine with that. And then this is the kids' room on the other side. I think this one's really cute. There's just a bunch of toys kind of scattered around on the floor, some sneaky storage here behind the bed, cute murals. They also have a creativity table in here, a Blarfy, some sports clutter. So definitely some toys and just a little bit of a mess in this room. And then off of mom's room is where we have the back door into the backyard. So this one's actually sort of wholesome. I really like it. There's this colorful table, some extra flowers, a little bench. Maybe she had this one left over from like camping stuff or whatever, and that's what she just put up in the backyard. There's a swing set in here that was probably already there, and then also a kiddie pool for the infant, but also for the kids to enjoy. So yeah, that's the single mom's apartment. Then next door is where we have the noisy students. The mess already kind of starts here by the front door, where they just have an old mattress for whatever reason out here that they need to get rid of. And then when you go inside, this is, you know, their living room space, I guess. They do have a really big bookcase here for all their college books, maybe. So they do some studying from time to time, just not a whole lot of it. There's a foosball table, some more storage here. There is a invisible dance floor. If you hover over it, you can see it, but it's basically invisible. And then they have a living room space here that is just a mess. They have all these party appliances out here, like snacks and napkins and plastic cups and whatnot. There's a gaming console here. Someone's been eating cereal on the couch, which obviously same, I do that too, but you know. There's a karaoke machine in here, and then they just have a 3-seater dining table kind of shoved in the corner here with 3 mismatched plastic chairs. Leftover punch from the previous party, probably. And then in here is the kitchen that they definitely don't use for cooking. They just use it to stack their takeout boxes and put pizza in the fridge and whatnot. There's some food remains on the floor here as well, but yeah, their kitchen, they don't really get a lot of use out of that. And then there is a hallway here. There are some neon signs put up. This is where they basically store their soccer balls and footballs and stuff. There is a study corner over here, which is nice and useful. Not sure how often they actually use it, but there is some homework out here. And then in the back is the shared room for 2 of the roommates. So this one's very blue and kind of green because we have this lava lamp. So there's a bit of a green hue going on here, but just some posters. There is a really small desk in here as well, and just the bare necessities for a bedroom. Next to that one is the single bedroom. This one definitely feels a bit more cozy, but it's probably because of the warmer colors that I used in here. But this one's for a single sim to use, and they have some more storage here as well. But yes, it's a pretty simple bedroom. And then of course a bathroom as well, which is really simple and a little bit messy. I'm not sure if I showed you the bathroom for the single mom, but this is their bathroom, and I really like this detail of the step stool thingy that the kids probably use when they need to brush their teeth. I thought that was really cute. And then the backyard for the students is just, you know, kind of annoying for the neighbors, that is. For them, it's really fun. They have all these activities. There's a keg in here. They have music, a fire pit, a grill, ping pong, a punching bag. So yeah, there's a lot to do out here, but it's also very noisy. And then we're moving on to this starter apartment that I didn't include in the speed build. So as you can see, this one is very, very basic. I mainly used base game for this interior. I do now just realize that I didn't change the swatch of this one chair that is so annoying. It is up on the gallery like this, so there There you go. You can easily change the swatch though, so it's not that bad. But you can see that this is very basic. I just placed the bare necessities, which does make this very cheap here in the kitchen as well. It is, it's very basic. They do have a computer in the hallway. There is a full-on bathroom in here and 2 bedrooms. So this one is a double bed bedroom, I guess, like a main bedroom. They do have a built-in wardrobe, so that is really nice. And then there is a smaller bedroom over here on this side, which is very bare. But yeah, this one's definitely move-in ready, and it does have a backyard as well, which I obviously left basically empty. We have a picnic bench. There is an easel in here for an opportunity to make some money and a trash can, but that is it. Then we have 3 more apartments here. So starting with this one, right above the single moms one is the one for the grandparents and their granddaughter. As you can see right off the bat, this one's so different compared to the other ones that I just showed you. This one's so cozy and it just feels like a warm hug, sort of. That's what I try to make it look like anyway. So they have this really cozy living room. The way I place the furniture, it definitely feels more closed off, but that's kind of what I was going for. So they have some more intentional clutter here on the coffee table, some nice bouquets, some board games. I imagine these people playing board games all the time. Obviously a cat tree, and then in the back here is their dining room space. So they have this really nice, like, large bookcase situation and this classic music painting. I just think that that one's so cute. And then there's a record player in the corner here, a really old mirror that is probably an heirloom is what I was thinking. And they also have a fish. So I don't know why I always have this combination of cats and fish. It's not ideal, but for some reason that always ends up happening for my interiors. But yeah, they have a fish too. And then in this corner here, of course, is the kitchen. Grandma is very much into baking, so I put some of the baking stuff out here from Home Chef Hustle. There's also a waffle maker in here, and then just some knickknacks. Again, I left this countertop free of clutter. In the hallway here is where we have Grandpa's knitting corner. How cute is this? And imagine there being some really cozy family pictures here in these frames, and just all the knitting stuff for Grandpa. It's so cute. And then there's a really big cat tree in here as well. At the end here is where we have the grandparents' bedroom. So this definitely sort of speaks for itself, but it is nice and cozy. And then there's the cat statue collection, Grandma's cat collection, if you will. And they also have a nice built-in wardrobe. And then off of their bedroom is a small balcony with a seating area and a litter box. And then the teens' bedroom is this one over here. It's nice and pastel colored for the most part. So the teen is into streaming. As you can see, they have a nice streaming setup, some more storage here behind the bed, and then just a bunch of clutter to kind of showcase that she is also into sports, specifically swimming, but you can't really tell by the sports clutter that I placed. And then of course their bathroom, which again is very similar to the other ones. It just has a few different decorations. Then the other 2 apartments up here are again sad starter apartments. This one does have some furniture, so this one is essentially move-in ready and you don't have to change anything because it does have the bare necessities. Emphasis on bare, but yeah, it's fully functional. We have a full kitchen, a full bathroom, and then we have this double bed bedroom. And I actually for this one decided to turn this second room into a study. So they have a nice desk with a computer in here, and then a balcony with an easel, again for an opportunity to make some money. And then the apartment on the far end here is basically empty. So this one is also move-in ready, but you do need to put at least a couple of furniture items in here to make it more livable. There is a full-on kitchen and bathroom because I feel like that's just what the rental comes with, you know? But for the rest, there is just boxes and a few random furniture items that maybe you could use or sell for a little bit of extra money. There is a random dresser in here. But yeah, for the rest, it is completely empty, move-in ready, but basically a blank canvas. And then that is it for the interior for the starter apartments. So these starter apartments, the furnished version, of course, is also up on the gallery. Like I showed you in the previous video, I also have a version that is unfurnished, of course, with just the exterior and the layouts done, but this one is fully furnished and has all the apartments in it. It comes in at over 244,000 simoleons, but I did put it up as a residential rental with a total of 6 units. So this is the price that you would have to pay if you were the landlord, but of course the rental prices for these separate units is a lot lower than that. And I built it on a 50 by 40 in the world of Ciudad Enamorada, so if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. But that's gonna do it for today's video, so I really hope that you enjoyed this one. You can obviously go ahead and download these apartments off the gallery like I just showed you. My username on the gallery is Simmary Sims. You can follow me on Instagram and on TikTok if you'd like. My username on there is Simmary Sims as well. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so, and if you'd like to get notified of every single time I upload a video, just click that little bell icon and you should be fine. I also live stream over on Twitch a few times a week, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and give me a follow over on twitch.tv/Simmary Sims. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!